Welcome to CrittendenPress NewsTalk. We are here with Superintendent of Schools Vince Clark, and as most of you know, it's about time to get back to school, and we're going to discuss Rocket Relaunch. Hashtag Rocket Relaunch. Coach Clark, I know you come up with some slogan every year, and this year appropriate. Don't forget we've got our COVID glass here. Take us through what the discussions have been and what the thought process has been. Many schools are still going virtual, but here in Crittenden County, we're back. At least one option is back in person.
Absolutely, yeah. And we spent most of June, digesting all the guidance that was coming down from Frankfurt and the CDC and from public health and all those folks. And then once we got to the last week of June, first week of July, we started kind of defining our plan of action. We did a June survey for our parents, and we really appreciate the 600 folks that responded to that. Because at that time, we were considering all options, just kind of what would school look like for our families and our school. And our families at that point said, the split, A, B, half the students here on one day, half the other students on the next day would not work. Child care was a deal breaker on that, and that 92% of our parents said, that they wanted to get back to regular school. We wanted a face-to-face traditional setting, and then at that time, 8% of our parents said that, they thought at that time they would keep their child home and they would appreciate a virtual option. So we took that information forward, took it to the board. Late June, the board adopted a new calendar. We moved the starting date of school from August the 12th to August the 25th, which allows us about 10 extra days to do some training with our teachers on technology and standards and engaging kids in a variety of ways. Because the fact of the matter is, there's a chance that before we get to Christmas or the end of the school year, we may cycle through a lot of these options. We are going to start on August the 25th with a in-person, face-to-face model with safety protocols. Of course, mask will be part of that. Everybody will have to mask up to get on a school bus. If you're moving about in the building, you will mask up. We are working right now. We had 2 storage pods delivered at each campus today, as a matter of fact, so that teachers could declutter their classrooms and so that we can spread kids out in the classrooms. So if we can social distance in the classroom, then we can have flexibility with the mask in there. Now, there may be times when we need to mask up if somebody has a coughing fit or, just for safety protocols. But we're working to have flexibility with the mask in the classroom if nobody's moving about, because we're trying to spread kids out. So we do have those efforts in place. And then our other option is a virtual learn from home. And we have purchased 2 curriculums for the middle school and high school. It's called Edgenuity, and it's an online curriculum. So for 7th grade, you can do your 7th grade math, English, science, social studies, and there's some electives on that as well. It also fits for high school. And then in the elementary, it's called Path Blazer. So it does require internet and for this online option, but those are our 2 options. One of the lessons that we learned from the NTI in March, April, and May is that the paper packets, it was hard to manage. It was hard to make that amount of copies and get those to folks, get them back while we were managing kind of the Google Classroom, engaging kids that way. So we're very happy with this online curriculum that we have, that we can engage kids virtually.
Now this, the way I understand it, it's a bit different than the NTI stuff. Where in this case, you'll have a lesson every day, has to be completed every day. You're not working at your own schedule. This is
Correct.
Like being in school.
It's like being in school. It is, and there's daily expectations. we will assign a virtual teacher to these groups of students.
A virtual teacher.
Well, that will manage the students assigned.
Now, is this a Crittenden County employee? Or
Yes,
is this something that
it will
comes-
be a Crittenden County employee. It will probably be an existing staff member that will manage this, give feedback to kids. And, that's one of the reasons our current survey is so important. We need parents to fill out that so that we can plan for what happens next. So far, after about 5 days, about 20% of our parents said that they're going to do the virtual option. So if that number continues, of our 1,300 students, 20% of 1,300 means about 260 kids will do the virtual option. So we will take existing staff and they will manage that for them, and the other staff members will teach the kids that are in person at school. So those are two different camps for us.
So you may not have your normal teacher on the virtual side.
You may or you may not. It just depends on how that works out. And let me say too, Chris, on the virtual option, one of the questions we've been getting back on our survey is, do the kids have to do their Path Blazer or their Edgenuity lessons between 8 and 3 o'clock, just like they're at school? Now, there is flexibility in that. Of course, they can, if they want to. They can just treat it like a school day. At 8 o'clock, I got math class, so I'm going to do my math lessons. But if they wait, until 5 o'clock that day and then they work through those that night, that's okay. We do ask that the kids do their lessons daily, though, on that, and not say, well, I'll do all these on the weekend or Saturday, because we just get too far behind. We're trying to focus on the learning. The NTI, like we did March, April, and May, that's good for short-term learning. But with this virtual option, we can introduce new learning for our students, and we can monitor it, and we can hold the kids accountable for that. So, and I just want to say too, with these two options, if a family chooses to do the virtual option, that would be something that they would do for a grading period. So they would do that until that grading period breaks.
Which is
It's about 8 or 9 weeks. And at that time, they can decide to stay in virtual, or they can decide to come back and do the in-person school. Now, with in-person, folks that are at school every day, if they can choose to go to virtual at any time.
So if something comes up,
Yeah.
family member gets sick, they get sick,
You get
boom,
COVID,
you go off.
yeah,
And then you stay on until that grading period ends.
until that break, yeah, and then you decide which lane you're going to be in, and then you stay in that for the next grading period. Yeah, I mean, it's basically 9 weeks, and then I think the next 8 or 9 weeks get you to Christmas break. Those are those natural breaks.
Speaking of technology, now might be a good time to talk about our sponsor for today, Farmers Bank and Trust Company. And, right now, online banking is more important than ever. I mean, it was a fad before COVID, and now people staying home, not wanting to move around, get about, be around people. And, of course, the banks don't really want you coming in with masks either right now. So, this online banking is so important right now. So it's a convenient, secure way to do your banking. And there's the new P2P. Farmers has its own proprietary app now, or program to do that. So just with a cell phone number or an email address of the recipient, you can send payments and mail right now. And Mr. Clark, I know there's a lot of talk even in sports as we move back into that too, is paying for your tickets that way. So I know that's some discussion through the KHSAA, and that's another topic altogether.
Yeah, I know. That's I've heard that as well, and I understand that. I'm sure that we'll probably start exploring that. I know Sean Thompson, our athletic director, has looked into that already. We haven't had a chance to debrief on that, but I think it's just another strategy. It's another level of creating a safe and healthy environment, because they say how dirty money is.
And we don't want to launder money.
Yeah, no, we don't.
It's a felony.
Yeah.
So Farmers Bank and Trust in Marion, Kentucky, I'm sure as we move toward these type things can help you be able to buy your tickets just in a snap online. So remember Farmers Bank and Trust for your banking needs. Mr. Clark, as we get back to school, I know this has been challenging for your leadership team, for your teachers, for your staff, the bus drivers. I know so much has gone into the planning on this, but have there been any mandates for special training for teachers and how to deal with sickness and COVID, or is that just left to your school nurses and such?
Well, the guidance that we've been given is to consult with our public health department, our area public health department. And, I've talked to Jim Tolley several times, and I know he's the interim there. And he's been a great resource for us. I know that they stay covered up. They stay pinned down now with the contact tracing and things like that. But he's going to come visit with my leadership team next Wednesday, and we're going to go through some specific scenarios. He's really good about responding to text, about that. But a lot of it is just, local decision in consultation, with your public health agencies. And just like Monday night, we had a forum out at the school, and, I contacted him about how many people we, could have there, and if we needed a mask up and practice social distancing and those protocols. And, that's what we'll do moving forward. Now, locally, I know that's on a lot of people's mind. What if we have a positive case, in a school, on a campus, whether it be a staff member or a student? And we know the closer we get back to normal, the more, risk we do accept. Now in Crittenden County, I think the risk is low especially when you compare it to, other counties and other parts of our state and our nation. But there's still the possibility. But, what we will do if we have a positive case inside our schools is we will close school, and we will do we'll send everybody home, and we may do NTI learning from home for a day or two while we deep clean and disinfect, at a new level, and that'll allow the public health agencies to do the contact tracing and let folks know who will be quarantined, who will be isolated, and who will just be monitored for symptoms. I continue to learn a lot about that process. It's very, it's not simple. I read on it every day, so that we can communicate that out, because I know we're getting a lot of questions like that on our surveys. But we will do that. Also, if a staff member or a student presents with symptoms, now not that they test positive, but they might have a fever, or they might have a cough, or something like that, then it's a 24-hour timeout, really. And then you monitor again. If you have more than one symptom, or you have a symptom for 2 days, then you have to go 24 hours. I think it's 24 hours without any symptoms before you come back. And I may be messing that up a little bit, but there is a process to protect our environment. And I know one of the questions we've had on our survey is our attendance policies for our students. Are we going to relax some of those? And that's one of the board action items tomorrow night is we'll be suspending our chronic absentee policy for the school year while we're in a pandemic. We're also looking at giving more flexibility with parent notes, because we know that 5 parent notes won't be enough to get us through the year. And the last thing we want to do is a parent feel inclined to send their child to school if they have a fever, or if they have a cough, or if they have gastro, or any other. During the pandemic, we're going to give that flexibility to you with parent notes, or we may just code those type symptoms as COVID, and call it even at that point. Those are one of the things we're working through right now. But I want people to understand that we will be flexible with that. Flexibility is going to be the key,
and patience
moving forward. And patience,
patience is what I've learned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I want to thank our sponsor, Farmers Bank and Trust Company of Marion, for today's news talk, and would like to remind you that the app is free. You can get the app, the online app, at their website or in any of the app stores, and it's a secure and a free and convenient way to do your banking now. You don't even have to go inside the bank. The doors are open now, but you know, at times when you go into a bank with a mask, and none of us want to wear a mask anyway, and they don't particularly like to see you in a mask. But Farmers Bank and Trust Company, convenient, secure online banking. Check out the app today. Mr. Clark, I know I hear a lot of questions about, so how are they going to check everybody's temperature, get them into school, get them on a bus, because the bus is sitting on the highway a lot of times in traffic, and it's unsafe enough, but now we're going to have to stop and check temperature. How's that going to happen?
Yeah. Well, we just spent the last 2 weeks ordering, masks and thermometers, and we're trading out tables for desks, and so we can spray kids out. We've made a big purchase plan to kind of facilitate all that. And at first, we were going to have to check the temperatures of everyone as they got on the school bus. We've been given flexibility on that right now. Right now, the mandate is we have to check the temperature before they before they come into the school. So what our plan is right now, we do have some school buses that have monitors on them, and they will check the temperatures of those kids as they get on, and then the parents that drop their kids off out front, we're going to try to check those temperatures in the car before the kid gets out, because if they have a temperature, we don't need the child coming into the school. We need the parent to take them on home.
So you're in the line with a staff
You're in
member.
the line, yeah. We're going to have a team of folks taking temps like that, and then we'll have we'll be taking temps for the bus riders that are entering the school. We'll have a team there as well. So the state has provided us with about 25 thermometers, and I think we purchased almost that many.
Were you able to get them in?
We are now, and that's one of the reasons we came back. First week of July, and we sit down and said, okay, what is everything that we need? And we've made a list of that, and everybody pitched in, and from extra cafeteria tables to carts to deliver breakfast to classrooms to thermometers and masks and gloves, and it was a pretty big list. We used our CARES money that we were given by the federal government to make those purchases. But already, we're already close to $50,000 into those type of supplies.
Not surprising. So there will not be any checking temperatures before they get on the bus in the highway. So then you get them to school, and is it going to take longer to get people through that line, to get the kids who drive? Is it going to take more time to get kids into the classroom in the mornings? Do they need to come earlier? Is there any?
It is going to take time. It will take more time, and we've talked to our principals and our supervisors about, flexibility is going to be key. We need to make sure that we take the time, to do this right, and make sure that we got people, check before they come in, make sure they're masked up. We still want them to make sure they get a breakfast and they're fed. We want to make sure that we're taking, physical breaks and emotional breaks, breathing breaks, and things like that. That we're so geared. Our society is so geared. We've got, it's 8 o'clock and we've got 55 minutes to get this in, and then boom, it's 9 o'clock, and we've got all these things to get in. That there's going to have to be a lot of flexibility in this, and that we just need to take time, make sure health and safety is first, that we're taking care of our kids, we're taking care of our staff members. It is going to take time, and I tell you, one of the wrinkles on this is like transportation. We're a few drivers down already, and we're looking at combining some routes So that means that we got some double runs. So we'll have a couple buses dropping kids off earlier than they normally do because they got to go make another run to pick up kids and get them to school. And we're factoring all that in. During this pandemic, we haven't been able to train new bus drivers. We have several bus drivers that are have had medical procedures, and they're on leave right now. Some have retired. We're not replacing those, or we haven't had a chance to replace those. So I mean, you think about things like, okay, if we get 3 or 4 bus drivers down, what's the impact on us having in-person school? So those are big considerations. You think about not having substitute teachers. What's the impact of that on us having regular school? So there's a lot of variables, that we're preparing for, and that's why I say there's a possibility, that we cycle through in-person, virtual, maybe a split A/B schedule, maybe all virtual at some point during the school year. That we'll have to explore all those options as this thing evolves.
So your staff and faculty, very diversified, age, gender, and have you gotten any feedback or any of them concerned about being there in school and with the pandemic going on? Or?
We have had some express, and in our leadership meeting today, of course, we sent out a survey this week gauging our professional learning needs from our staff, and we're going to gauge kind of that emotional part of that as well, kind of where they're at. One of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to do some forums, and one of those is going to be with staff members. That's going to be on next Wednesday. I'm going to open up time at noon, and then I'm going to do another one at 5 for any staff members that want to come in and just ask specific questions and just talk about how the impact on this for them. I'm also going to do some parent forums starting Friday, because there's just a lot of questions about, what if. I know some of the feedback we got is parents want some more information before they complete the survey that we sent out. But we need them to complete the survey so that we can determine, so we can make planning for virtual and in person. But I'm going to open it up for parents to come there at Rocket Arena. I'm going to do one Friday at noon, Monday at noon, and Tuesday at noon. And then on Monday and Tuesday, we're going to do one at 6 o'clock as well. So,
and that's starting this Friday.
Starting this Friday, yeah. Now, I'm not going to do one Friday at 6, just noon.
And so I assume those parents have been notified by your call system or emails or something?
Yeah, we sent it out on our social media outlets today.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why it's new. I haven't seen that one.
And, we like to give more kind of notice on those type of things. It wasn't something we were planning to do, but in the middle of this survey, some of the feedback we were getting was that they wanted more information before they checked in person or virtual. So we thought, well, we'll do this, and then we are going to extend our parent survey through Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. It was going to close on Sunday, but we will add Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning to that. That way they get to come to the forums, then they can answer the survey. And I want folks to know that the parent survey is just for our planning purposes. It helps us to determine, how much we got to spread out in the 7th grade or, the 9th grade where we've got that great big class. Because if we can spread out and get our numbers around 20, per class, then we can have flexibility with the mask during class time. And the way it looks, that's about the only time during the school day that we can have flexibility. And that's one of the things parents, said in the survey that, are you going to make kids wear a mask all day long? And, there's no wiggle room. On the bus, you got to wear a mask. Of course, kindergartners and preschool, they're exempt. And there are medical exemptions as well from wearing the mask. But if you But if you exempt, then you have to social distance.
And does that require a doctor's exemption?
The way I understand it, it does. Yeah.
So all of this, it reminds me, I think it's maybe the Marines, but some branch of the military is analyze, improvise, and overcome.
Yeah.
Whole lot of that going on right now.
There is, and it is. We get in front of 2 or 3 things, and then we discover that there's, 2 or 3 things that we got to put back, that we have to figure out. We've never been through a pandemic. There is no playbook on this. We are getting tons of guidance from Frankfurt and public health and the governor and the commissioner and CDC. And it really is overwhelming. I mean, it really is. But, what we said is that, we go back and say, we're going to continue learning. That's important. We miss our kids. We want them in the classroom. They need to be in the classroom for social, emotional, for nutrition. Not just academics, but for relationships. So, we're going to continue learning. We're going to feed kids. And we're going to try to take care of each other. Hopefully, we can get through this and we get to a spot where there's a vaccine and we can get in front of this a little bit better. But, this upcoming school year is just going to be, there's not going to be another one like it ever.
We hope and pray that it will not be.
Yeah. And I know that this is the impact on everybody, on our businesses, our economy, our families, the adversity and just the stress and emotional distress is heavy, and we recognize that. And I appreciate people's patience with us. We're spending every day on this, and we're trying to put out information that is helpful. And we're trying to streamline this. We're not going to be able to meet every single need, but we're going to do our best. I mean, we really are. I mean, if you do virtual and you have your special needs kid with an IEP, then you have a teacher that will be doing what they can, to modify lessons and help them be successful. So we're just looking at all those things case by case on what we can do as a school district. If you do virtual, if you do the virtual at home learning, we still plan on feeding you. We will have a drive-through station for folks. They can swing by and get their lunches. We'll probably do it like we did this summer and give and provide 5 days of lunches and breakfast at one time, just to reduce that amount of exposure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we're going to wrap things up. I want to remind you that since 1899, Farmers Bank and Trust Company has been right on the corner in downtown Marion. So from the horse and buggy days to virtual banking, they've been here as a partner in this community, and really, truly, they are a partner in this community. And appreciate Farmers Bank and them supporting the school district, supporting this program today, so this is out to you. Don't forget that the P2P that they have now, you can send payments right to other individuals or businesses in a snap with an email or a phone number. Mr. Clark, I want to wrap this up now, and we've talked about online or the remote learning. We've talked about in-person learning. I know Caldwell County has, from what I understand, is going to go 2 days. They're going to be 2 days for this group, 2 days for the next group. What is that going to affect our people from here who go over to the trade school in Caldwell County? Have you had any interaction with that at this point to know?
I don't believe. I talked to Randy McCarty, the principal over there last week, and at that time
at the trade school,
and they hadn't decided what back to school plan they were doing at that time. But the way that I understand it, the ATC serves Caldwell County students in the morning, and their split schedule means that half of their kids will come in one day and the other half of their kids will come in the next day. But that should not impact us, because our kids go over in the afternoon and we share time I think with Lyon County and maybe Dawson Springs.
So we have a busload or two that goes over there.
We have a busload. We usually have about 25 or 30 kids that go over.
Of course,
there.
that may be 2 busloads this year, huh? If you have to spread them out.
Well, maybe. We don't know, but
Yeah.
we have embraced, getting back to school, 5 days face to face. We may be eventually looking at that split AB schedule. The feedback we got was that was not something that our families wanted to do. But if our positive cases in our community continue to increase, if we have a few cases in our school district, that does reduce the number of kids in the building by 50%. And one of the questions that that every time I've huddled people up and we've talked about this is, what would be best if we split it? Would it be better to do half the students here 2 days a week, or would it be better for half the students to come all week and then take off or do like virtual the next week, while the other half are coming into school? Because childcare and internet are the 2 variables that are kind of driving all of our decisions here. We know that internet, limited internet, adequate internet, it continues to be a challenge for our community.
All right. Well, we appreciate Farmers Bank and Trust Company for sponsoring today's program. Since 1899, they've been right here. So through horse and buggy days to right now with virtual banking. Mr. Clark, any last words?
I do. I just want to say, we encourage folks to complete that survey. We invite you to come out to our forums with your questions.
And they can find that survey if you're a parent and don't know about this. This is for parents because you put your child's name in the survey. You send an email to them. It's also available on your website, your Facebook page. It's on the CrittendenPress website. So a lot of places you can find that portal.
Absolutely, yeah. And if not, you can call central office. Diana Lusby or Tiffany Blazina can get you directed to that. But we really need that information to plan for transportation and in-school and virtual options.
And if you're not a tech person, you can call and give your answers to them, I assume, too, right?
Probably. We hadn't thought about that. It probably would take, about 10 minutes.
Or less. I've done it. It didn't take very long.
It's not very long, but it's essential information for us. But, that's this week. And then online registration, which will open up July the 27th. And that's a little more definitive. That's getting everything lined up and in the system.
So we won't have the back to school bash type stuff that we've had in the traditional launch of school.
We won't have the back to school where we congregate big numbers of people. We just won't. Even our opening day that we usually do with our 200 staff members, we will not do that either. But online registration will open up July 27th, and then first day for school is August the 25th. Our teachers will report on August the 14th. That's a Friday, and then we'll have training all that next week as well.
All right. Challenging times for all of us, and in particular these leaders at our school districts. And we wish you all the best of luck, and we'll say a prayer for you every night because it's like going to the moon. We don't know what to expect even when we get there. So thank you, Mr. Clark, for all you do, and thanks to Farmers Bank and Trust Company in Marion, Kentucky for their support of today's program.
Thank you, Chris.